Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Roadwarden. I thought this would be a perfect game to sit back, relax with, and play while fighting off a little cold of myself. Of myself? On myself? I've been infected, damn it! Don't make me scream. Don't make me angry so early. Alright, so last time we left off, we investigated this place, and this little... I was kind of pondering before I hit the record button. And when I ponder, that means I'm staring blankly at the wall for a couple minutes. They mentioned we can learn more about the wares this village has to offer. So what kind of wares haven't we asked about? We haven't asked about, like, farming. Well, farmers. Oh, damn it. I'm just struggling without trading. Okay, okay, what about herbalist? Okay, they deal with that Thrisis guy. I think he's the grass lord. What about a doctor? You learn the locals can't rely on the herbs. Okay, it's all the same. All right, well, I'm out of ideas. Like what other wares could there be? Metal worker, miner. She is outsider. Oh, she wants me to open the tunnel. We already know that. Okay. What about metal smithy? That you don't understand me. Well, what about a teacher? I'm looking for children. Oh, there's a dozen kids playing in the village. Almost all of them on the western bank, and slightly a smaller group of teenagers working together with adults in the east. They don't seem to struggle with hunger, and the rugged clothes they're wearing are appropriate for the weather. And as in most villages of the Dragonwoods, the younger kids are supervised by the elders, not necessarily those related to them. Their only duties involve learning the most basic of chores and staying out of trouble, which also means they rarely leave the village walls, and never without adults. This carefree life ends for those who reach their 10th birthday. 10 years old? That's when they start spending longer and longer hours experimenting with different types of labor. Damn. Very interesting town. So it seems like all the adults are just laborers, and they're working non-stop to keep things going. The children have a nice, great life, and then they get to work. I like this place. All right. How about adults? You need to be more specific. You don't find them. Okay. Myself. Not all those who wander are lot. Gordon. You don't find them. That's my horse. All right, that's enough for now. I am not sure who else we need to talk to, but I'm sure we're going to be coming back here and we might be able to dig up the answers. I don't want to sleep here. This place is very expensive, so we're going to travel back to Old Foggy Lake, and then we can head to the east and see what lies there. We want to get a trapper, I think, to go into these old tunnels to take care of all these filthy undead. And I believe our best bet to find a trapper could be in this fishing... Well, this is a fishing area. It could be in this other city that I believe is over here, or maybe back at the Pelt of the North. Let us vamos. Alright, so far this is one of my favorite places. The surface of the lake is restless, and the cold wind strikes the tavern's hanging barrel again and again. You adjust your cloak. There are dozens of feathers scattered around the yard, as well as some blood stains on an apron that's hung on a fence. I enter the tavern. You smell food. Oh, Foggy is standing in the middle of the room, lost in her thoughts. She welcomes you with a gentle nod. I have some things I'm willing to part with. Why does nobody want to buy all my tablets and furs? I have some questions about the peninsula. Oh, damn. Gale Rocks. Not the nicest bunch of fishers, are they? She chuckles. But there's motherly concern in her eyes. Harsh lives give birth to harsh folks, dear. They spend every sunny day on their fishing boats, then cut the sea fish all night long to place them in barrels or hang them in the smokery. They don't have crops, no lumber or iron, but coastal birds and rock squabs are their only game meat. It's not too dangerous being a fisher, but all they get comes from trading. Well, you can tell it's not good news. Then they try to be their own merchants, take the wares south, and with every year they need to burn more pyres. She scratches her broad chin. Hard to believe Gale Rocks is as old as it is, and that they stick to it no matter how difficult their lives get. Oh, okay. I had some metal scraps, but nobody wanted them. How about... Is there anyone else we want to ask her about? What's this cabin? Or maybe the abandoned watchtower. I can't remember if we asked this already. The abandoned watchtower. The watchtower used to be a safe shelter. She looks at the door. Its walls could stop even larger beasts. Well, maybe not a dragon, but there are no soldiers around here, and without traders, also no mercenaries. We asked adventurers to occupy it, but all they ever did was grab what they could. Grab what they could. Hunt forbid, then go away. Eudocia the Enchantress said she cares not about keeping the tower in one piece. We don't even have a key to the main door. It's in Gale's Rocks. We can only wait and see how many years it will take before it turns to ruin. You ask her what you can find near the watchtower. Yucho is to the east. The road through the heart of the forest is to the west. Far away to the south, you'll find a dolmen, but no soul looks after it anymore. The road north leads here, the Stonebridge. I think we did ask about this before. All right, thank you. I would like to buy 4 meals for 1 gold is pretty fantastic. And when we sleep here, we're going to lose 2. Oh, I can rent it with rations. Interesting. Interesting. I think we're going to... How many rations do we have? We only have 4 rations. We're actually getting lower. What I think I'm going to do is we're going to rent this for the night. Yeah, let's do that. We could use 1 extra heart. Beautiful. Do we want to get a bunch of meals in advance? I feel like this is a good place to go back and forth. And pit stop along the way. It's much cheaper than sleeping in other places. So I'm gonna do it. 4 meals in advance. I'd like to eat. Perfect. Time for me to go. Foragers, do you have anything? Oh! Can you teach me how to build traps? You're catching a hare or a stout? When you explain what you've seen in the tunnels, and looks around, oh dear, he whispers, you better look for some big traps. Ask Ephron, maybe, from Creeks. He's a real hunter. Okay. I believe Creeks is going to be over here, so this is perfect. We're heading there anyway. The road east is beaten and clean, with enough space to fit 2 wagons side by side. You pass by a few plum trees, apple trees, and cherry trees, but many more stumps, likely belonging to what has been turned into Foggy Lake. The life in the plains is busy and loud, but so far you don't see any lurking beasts, judging by the many trampled parts of the meadows and the fresh food trails. The foragers search this corner of the peninsula quite often. They didn't leave much behind. You reach a shining pond at the edge of the forest. You ride beneath 2 trimmed trees growing on the opposite sides of the path, like columns leading to Right's temple. Shouts and heavy steps prepare you for trouble ahead. 2 shells are circling around each other. One of them is 4-legged saurian with dark gray skin, as long as your palfrey, but only knee-high. It's wandering left and right along the bank, hissing repetitively, sticking its split tongue out and then retracting it. The stout monster, Stoutworthy, doesn't look like a born hunter of humans, but its long tail is swinging like a whip. For now, only threateningly so, but you don't doubt that getting hit by it would likely break your bones. Jesus! The second one belongs to a brown-skinned man wearing leather pants, a long brown woolen coke? A nice Coca-Cola, and the matching pelt of a wolf on his head and shoulders. It's a witcher! Like a haunting hood. His voice is both gentle and scared, and he's stretching his hands in front of him, trying to make the beast stay away as if it's a mouflon. A third shell is right in the middle between the other 2, a creature you don't recognize from a distance, but it's in a puddle of its own blood, and it isn't moving. Alright, axe in hand, I jump on the ground and rush to help. I ride slowly, taking a closer look at the entire situation. Alright, so there's a saurian who seems to be like they seem to be monsters, right? I've never heard anything in the game so far about saurians, like, being conscious and that you could converse with them. But maybe we should check. Janal? Bestiary. Saurians. There's still more to learn about them. Saurian is a term as vague as a monkey. It covers a vast range of 4-legged creatures that resemble small dragons. Some of them are hunted for meat, especially the smaller ones, while the larger ones often attack humans. They'll prefer heavier animals that can satiate them for longer. There are many tales about the unique abilities that some of their group may possess, but they are among the lesser understood creatures. So I'm guessing what happened here is this was a traveler. They had some kind of a beast of burden, maybe, like a pack mule, or... It wouldn't be a horse, because horses are very rare, right? And the saurian killed that for sustenance, and now the owner is kind of stepping back. I think we just run in there with our axe in hand. We have an axe, so that could be unique to our character. But I said we just get in there and try and help. We don't want to waste any time. Gordon charges forward, though strays a bit to the left, as if hoping that you'll change your mind before you ride into the Saurian. You allow it to do so, and land on the ground between the two enemies. The man's voice turns into laughter, and you realize that the dead shell belongs not to a human, but to a creature covered with white fur. Don't worry, friend, I'm trying to scare it away from the ibex. How can I help? I don't think your ibex can be helped, kind stranger. I frown, raising my weapon. Why? It would be easier to catch something by yourself. Just step away, I'm not going to let you die for a scrap of meat. Well, he seems to have it covered. We're not going to risk our necks for someone who wants to do it themselves. We are a road warden. We'll do our job. But if someone says, hey, don't worry about it, we got to respect the locals that trust us. I don't think your ibex can be helped, kind stranger. How can I help? He grins and triumphantly raises a finger. That's the spirit! This ibex is our destiny, friend. He points at the beast, and as his hat moves around, the loose, shaking jaw distracts you. Say, friend, do you have any fruit in those sacks? Throw some at it. The loose, shaking jaw distracts you? This is what kind of... as I was reading, my brain kind of couldn't get past this part. He points at the beast, and as his hat moves around, the loose, shaking jaw distracts you. I hope that's just like a... just description, or is it like, is he undead? Is his jaw dislocated? Or am I not reading properly because my brain is sick? I unpack some wild fruits. Why would I care about fruits? It has a whole ibex to eat. I sigh, look at my weapon. I'll distract it. You grab the ibex and drag it away. You know what? We're going to trust this man. He has a candor that rivals our own. Triumphantly raises a finger. I love him. I unpack some wild fruits. We trust you. You lost a bunch of wild plants. Not a problem. You show him a sack, and he eagerly nods. Perfect! Go ahead, throw them. You grab apples and pears that don't look so appetizing and toss them towards the beast. They land just next to it, and while it walks left and right, moving its tongue in and out rapidly, it only crushes some of the fruits with its feet. Maybe Ma would do it! Without asking for your permission, the man grabs a few more plums, throwing them right at the beast's head. They land, and the creature cuts the air with its tail, hissing angrily, but other than that, nothing changes. You know what? I think the fruit eaters have those yellow dots on their backs. He starts, but clears his throat after he meets your eyes. I should have known not to trust a gentlemanly man. A person who has such vernacular has not studied anything else but the art of vernacularization. I sigh and look at my weapon. I'll distract it, you grab the ibex and drag it away. He scratches his hood and nods with approval. You know what, friend? That's an excellent plan. I do so. Without another glance, he once again shouts at the beast, then dashes away from you, followed by his cape. The monster hisses and reaches forward as if waiting to see what you're going to do. You step forward, hoping to draw the monster's attention as far away from the carcass as possible. It answers your challenge and shortens the distance even further. I focus on avoiding its attacks. I try to wound it. I try to look big and scare it away with shouts and gestures. We always do this! It's worked once, and it's failed once. I feel like it's not going to work on this guy. Hold on, let me look at the saurians again. They're like the monkeys. No, it's a term like monkeys. Especially smaller ones. Larger ones often attack humans, though prefer heavier animals that satiate them for longer. There are many tales with unique abilities some of the group may possess, but they are among the lesser understood creatures. You've heard that the large saurians with yellow dots on them are fruit eaters that eat meat only when they're desperate. So this one is not one. With the fruit with the spots, so he wants meat. I feel with this tail, we don't want to look big because then it's going to think, oh, it's more food. I think we just go in and try and hit this thing. We're going toe to toe. You know, we've been dashing around. We tried to avoid the bird, and it pecked us and it hurt us. We're going toe to toe. I try to wound it. You reach for my axe. I wonder if I should be using this crossbow more. No, we got an axe. You lunge at it and surprise the saurian with your speed. It tries to turn around, but not before you cut its back with your axe. You even try to step on it. we got him with our axe and we just tried to step on him. But to no avail. Hissing in pain, it simply gets up and flees into the water, disappearing beneath the surface and leaving a trail of blood behind. Ha ha! Dumb beast! You hear. The thief is already next to the ibex. You wait for a bit, observing how the beast swims with ease, though it's heading to the opposite side of the pond. instead of staying in it. That was risky, the man chatters. You sure have a blade better than my garbage here. He shows you his club, a nicely shaped plank embedded with blades made of black glass-like obsidian. It looks more sharp to you. It looks more than sharp to you. Maybe I still wouldn't like to be hit by it. It's about technique and confidence, you know. Yeah, it's all about the technique and confidence. You can't just throw a bat around willy-nilly. You need to target the vital points. The medulla oblongata. What? Yeah, probably. I'm lucky you were around, friend. He smiles without looking at you. You tell Gordon to run ahead while the two of you carry the carcass, leaving a trail of blood behind you. The road leads slightly uphill. You pass the pond and approach the woods, even from a distance, seeing a distinct trail leading between the trees. Not a god in this forest, the man speaks briefly, gasping from the burden, but not too dark. The cats are but a few. Boars are there, though, and the gargoyles. Better not go too deep. There are no roads there. His face is not much older than 20, shaved with some great care. Cleaner even than among the city folk. While his hood and heavy cloak mask his figure, he seems well-fed and healthy. Halfway there, friend. Creeks is a gorgeous place, you know. You'll love it. Don't ruin the surprise. Carrying the ibex takes a while, but the man is incapable of being silent. Every unusual tree seems to be tied to a story from his life. You make sure that you notice the first stream you cross on a new solid bridge. One of many creeks, you see, he says with untamed amusement. A thin gorge leads you between the mountains. This place is quite susceptible to bandits. It truly feels like an end of the realm. Well, we're going to be logical here, because we want to learn more about the bandits at the same time. Oh, I thought he was going to give us a little tidbit of information. You follow the trail of shouts and laughter. 7 people about 20 years old each are gathered at the wooden bridge, leaning against the railing, bathing in the stream, lying on the grass. Pieces of clothing made of fur and leather are spread around next to cudgels and throwing clubs. Once the sound of hooves manages to break through the chattering, the curious young eyes untouched by wartime turn towards you, and an excited whisper spreads. The shells are proudly displayed, and the confident smiles are both inviting and challenging. How's water? The hunter greets his tribesfolk with stepping on the logs. Gentle and warm? So it's another person. Gentle and warm, says a man resting on his friend's shoulder. That's a nice ibex. There are paths leading in many directions, but the main road will take you uphill. Awkward, as I walk past the naked people, I look at the watchtower. Wait, I didn't realize they were naked. They're 20 years old? Oh, they're bathing. I guess that makes sense. There's no reason for me to be embarrassed. I look at them. I have that. We're confident people. We're not gonna act all shy and embarrassed at the beauty of a warm, naked shell, as they say in this game. There's no reason to be. We stare confidently. The light dances on wet hair, both on their heads and crotches. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Luring your eyes just as much as the revealed chests and muscular arms. You've interrupted not just their bath. The soul who's speaking with your guide is embracing another man as he's sitting behind him with one of the women is keeping her arm around the waist of yet another man. You hardly see any wounds or marks caused by sickness. The harshest days of this group are still ahead. As you move your eyes from one person to another, they greet you with kind nods, but you notice that the ones standing on the bridge are holding their breath and leaning away. You notice your own scent, and once you step off the logs, the hunter chuckles. Seeking warmth, aye? Don't worry, you can always wash yourself in here. I nod to the guy. Yeah, we are disgusting right now. I wonder if we had, like, full appearance, and we had a nice scent of gooseberry. Could we join in the festivities? I nod to the group, then follow the man. The palisade is as tall as trees, but being placed on the top of the crag makes it look impassable. What? Why is the gate closed? The hunter turns to the watchtower and repeats his question, only louder. Maybe call here? Too blind to see we have a guest, eh? A hardly visible guard with a female voice leans from the tower. He's coming now, relax. Her shouts hint of no patience towards him. The youth dying in the woods after the bath. Why wouldn't we close? The man glances at you. Who's Ela? Oh, he's just my brother. He gestures for you to ignore it. And I'm Ephraim. So thanks to our parents, folks keep mistaking our names. But Ela has a stick in his ass. And is as boring, as nagging as a legless donkey. The soul from the tower hides again, and the gate opens. We enter the village. The sparse clumps of grass survive only on the edges of the spacious yard. The few onlookers wear working clothes suitable for their hard labor. They're carrying tools, planks, and logs. You're next to a large building of unusual shape, either a temple or a house of gathering. It makes you think of a cabin that's been getting larger over the course of the years, with the section in the middle being darker and more crude than the outer ones. A slightly overweight man is standing in front of the building with open arms. Welcome to the creek, friend. His voice and eyes are gentle, but there's vigor in his stance and gestures. Ephraim was meant to hunt, but I see he brought not one, but two unusual creatures. The hunter rolls his eyes. Don't embarrass us with this prattle. He raises his voice, fills with bitterness, addressing no soul in particular. And maybe ask someone to help us with these immocks. It's our shared catch. He points at you. Now I want to know to whom we are grateful. Ela nods towards you. While I introduce myself, I observe him more closely. Being close to 30 years old, he's one of the older souls around, just like the other villagers. He has clothes made of animals, not plants. The leather pants and jacket are humble, but the shoulder cape reaching from his neck to elbows used to belong to a yellow elk. His brown skin is darker than that of a farmer, and as you look at the outreached hands, they carry the marks of being cut by tools. I am Ela, the carpenter. We've heard of you from Foggy. He takes a step forward. He takes a step toward the fruit trees and invites you to move forward like most men in the village. He's cleanly shaved. How about I show you the rest of the village? It may be humble, but it's as beautiful as a blue starling. I love how I've like openly said I'm sick today, but for some reason I'm doing all the damn voices. We'll see how long it lasts. Be supportive and cordial. Thanks, Ela. That sounds lovely. Oh, I already had an opportunity to see some of your beauties. Sure. I've wasted enough time. Can we talk about the peninsula instead? How about I show you the rest of the village? It may be humble, but it's as beautiful. Why not? I would love to see. We could be a little bit playful, though, and maybe he'll reveal some ideas about what this orgy was. Oh, I've already had the opportunity to see some of your beauties. It takes a moment before Ela figures out what you mean, but Ephraim's laughter is enough of a hint. The carpenter puts a hand on his bulging stomach and playfully taps his fingers. I, the youth, want to be longed for, but don't find many adventurers in their small group. Our older generations see them as our offspring, not bedfellows. At least the blood crossing isn't an issue yet. I forget his name. I've already forgot his voice. I swear, interrupts the hunter. I'm not carrying this immix to the kitchen. Somebody call the cooks. After dropping the carcass on the ground, he springs away, fretting at the blood on his hands. Let's take a stroll, then, says Ela as he leads you forward. Your mount can drink at the creek here. Come on, Gordon. You tether your mount to a tree, next to drying laundry. Ela points at the land behind the bridge proudly. Our newest addition to the village. The hunters grow old, so we are taking steps away from meats and fruits. You spot only two people working in the field, or rather a large garden covered with cabbages, carrots, onions, and garlic, indistinguishable from the wild plants growing in the woods. On the path between the two halves of the field, an elderly woman is sitting on a stool, looking in your direction as if you're interrupting her contemplation. Old Hammer there will turn this place into a proper farm. One day, she had little strength, but keeps precious memories of her trade. You lack proper seeds. She seems austere. You lack proper seeds. Maybe we'll be able to do some trading. The good ones are expensive. Ela responds right away as if it's a part of a prepared speech. And we weren't sure about our soil. It's all just a test. He invites you with a gesture to follow him deeper into the village. And there are no seeds in Gale Rocks. While the folks at the Howlers won't spare their coin, they'd rather force us to buy from them. There are farmers at White Marshes, adds Ephraim. But it's a dark place. Who knows what you would reap after a year? That's rough. The bonfire spot is surrounded by logs that were cut into tables and stools. Ela approaches the nearest chair, rubbing its back with his cut hands. When we share a meal, we do so here, sometimes beneath the stars.
You'll have to see it. The flames dance on the walls to the monster roars and the crickets.
Ephron's voice also grows in enthusiasm.
Dining at the edge of the forest is something you wouldn't forget, unless you can drink. Don't swallow anything stronger than spoiled Ibex milk. The shadows, friend. Terrifying.
You glance over the wooden buildings. While the walls seem fine, the roofs are primitive, mostly made of planks that are already soggy and bent. There are a few people working on cleaning bark from a log, but the square is mostly quiet, with a few kids observing you from above their toys. Burning such fires must take a lot of wood. A bit of a fire hazard, isn't it? I imagine what such dinners would look like. One big family. We'll do a quick save. Let's not like go too you should do this, you should do that. Let's just appreciate what they have to offer here. Ela flashes you a disarming white smile.
Yeah, a huge one. We don't have any rooms to spare.
He looks at the children as they return to their crude wooden toys.
They don't realize yet how small our home is. They've hardly seen anyone from the world outside, and the trade occurs at Foggy Lake. And good for them,
the hunter chirps in.
They don't miss much. Often than spouses, we have everything we need, and so far we have plenty of fresh meat, some of us even too much.
He smirks at the carpenter, who in response turns and walks away. I follow him. Look at this place. It's majestic. You stand between two of the houses, in front of the gate of an animal pen. The walls are made of sharpened trunks and are as tall as two humans. The captured beasts are tethered by ropes, but have enough freedom to wander and graze. 2 brown boars and a black mouflon.
And here are our captives,
Ephron declares proudly.
I know it's still a bit empty, but we'll crowd it just before the winter.
I have some good news for you. I helped the boys from Foggy's catch a large bird that will soon be brought here. While you try to stay to the point, Ephron is full of energy. He asks about every detail, from the animal's size to the way it acted in combat. Your brief answers are met with shouts echoed by the silent bounces of the wolf's head.
It was brave venture. I'm glad they didn't try it without you.
Ela gestures for the hunter to drop it.
Thank you for giving us time to prepare.
I was also told to ask for 1 dragon bone. We need money.
Yes, I, of course.
The carpenter looks around.
Pay for the messenger. Just give me a minute.
He scurries away as quickly as his thick legs allow him.
We don't carry dragons with us, the hunter explains. So how large is the beak? Something like this?
He demonstrates the size with his hands, and for a few minutes showers you with questions. Finally, the dragon bone finds its place in your hand.
We will get to the preparation soon, concludes Ela, sweating. Did my brother show you the forest, friend?
He leans against the gate and points at the area behind the palisade. I look north. Whoa! The vast clearing is returning to life, with shrubs spread between the paths and tree stumps. You move to the bridge, then a gateway, and have a chance to look around.
We can see the edge of our world from the watchtower.
Ela narrates sublimely.
In the long distance, the plateau ends, surrounded by cliffs. You either climb up the mountains, or you fall to your death.
Both men tell you about the difficult paths of the village, a desperate camp, then a cabin, then 2, shifting its wooden walls as more and more trees were cut.
Without tree crowns, we can walk with no shadows, beast dens, and gargoyle eyes, concludes the carpenter.
Is it really better than a forest garden? It would produce much more food. Now I only see berries. I'm surprised that the wrath of the herds hasn't smitten you yet. These pointed sticks won't stop a unicorn.
A unicorn?
In these parts? Is it really better than a forest garden? It would produce more food. Like having the extra food, but it sounds like they have a crazy amount of food. So I think that's a silly question. They're fine with food for hunting. They're trappers. But I'm surprised that the woods hasn't fought back.
Nothing will, friend,
the hunter counters, and the carpenter is eager to follow.
I thank the landscape. Blocking the path here was one of the first things our predecessors took care of, and it may be that the beasts don't realize how much this place has changed.
He tells you there's one more thing to see, and continues his tale as you walk away.
From time to time, pardon me, I just farted. From time to time, something reaches our territory. We feel safe among the bushes, but not so that we would send a child there. We have plans. So many lifetimes won't be enough to complete them," he says with a mix of melancholy and excitement, making Ephron listen with attention. "I want to see a stone wall, with a walk for archers, weapons made of copper, and tannery set at its own camp, so we're free of this stench. Farmers, fishers, sorcerers, herbalists." You return to the main square again. "The words of a dreamer." The hunter pats his companion's back.
The words of a dreamer. First, we need to learn how to feed our children. We lack strength and skill.
Ephron looks at you.
But we have time.
I nod. With time comes opportunity. I frown. We never have as much time as we want. Now, time comes opportunity. If you plan correctly, and even if it takes multiple generations, as long as you have a well-put plan in place with the proper people following it, with transparency on the rise, you can achieve possibly mediocrity. You reach the edge of the village, a cliff as tall as the wall. Beneath you, two creeks meet each other and form a gentle river.
"These are the trees we used to learn more about woodwork."
Ela is smiling as he leans back against the wall of a house.
"We plant new ones, but we'll soon have to bring wood from further away. Give the saplings a few years, or however long they grow, a decade."
And this is where I leave the two of you with the boring tree talks.
Ephron points at you.
See me later if you need. I'll be around. I rarely hunt alone.
The carpenter watches his departing companion with genial eyes.
"Well, there's work to be done. A new chair awaits me."
He leads you to a humble working station placed at the edge of the square. The tools you notice are very simple, if not primitive.
"We don't have to talk about my trade, Stoutworthy. What brings you to us?"
All right, this is what I was waiting for. We got to get a whole bunch of information, and we got to give them a lot of information. It's going to be lickety-split. Actually, it's going to take a long time. Buckle up. Old Pagos is over. I think we always want to start with the plague talk. We got to get that out of the way. He freezes, puts away his tools, and looks at you with wide eyes.
"Wait for a bit, will you?"
Without waiting for your response, he springs up and knocks down a few planks as he lurches away, asking his neighbors to call the entire tribe. People surround you, asking what's going on, and once the news spreads, you answer dozens of questions, though most of what you have to say can be summoned up with, "I'm not sure." Aside from the word faces, there are also more pragmatic ones. Hunters mention that they won't be able to deliver their autumn pelts, while one of the farmers wonders about her cousin. "She was always so pious," she says with an accent you remember from Old Pagos. "May the right reward her prayers, or else." After some time, the crowd pays you little attention, and Ela leads you back to his workshop.
"They and I will have to discuss this later,"
he says with an absent voice, and sits down and glances at his neighbors. I'd like to place this rod. Maybe we don't ask for the rod yet. That's like the end thing. Once we kind of banter a little bit and figure out what this guy's all about, gain some trust, then say, "Hey, by the way, can I shove this rod up your ass?" Is Astarion around? He halts his work and looks at you with an exaggerated frown.
"Well, that's a weird question. You're the first Roadwarden I've seen in, well, this season, I think. Did you check in the western villages? You'll get to Howlersdale simply staying on the road."
His right hand, still holding a tool, is now squeezing his stomach gently. Pardon me. Are you poisoned, sir? People say that Astarion has spent a long time in your village. You're hiding something. Do we press him now? I don't want to press him just yet. I want to make sure we get everything out of him before we turn him into an angry bear. Let's see. Let's say you would need to place some traps in an old tunnel.
"Do I look like someone who crawls through tunnels?"
He smiles and pats his stomach.
"Yeah, you want Ephron. He catches everything that doesn't fly or swim."
"I've heard about the bandits. I'd like to place this rod somewhere. The village is much older. What do you think about Ephron?" He gives you a surprised look.
"I care for him deeply. He's brave and has a big heart. But both of our pasts were rough. I don't think you need to hear about them."
I've heard you have some issues with the Eastern Path. At first he gives you a bright smile, but then nods with a sigh.
Aye. So our issues are clear. That folks gossip on them. I'm losing his voice. I'm glad you came to our help, friend. But it doesn't feel right to admit we need help from an outsider.
He stands up slowly, walks away, and leaps over one of the log-made tables and looks for something in the pile of wood.
In this part of the land, there's always going to be something to do for a road warden.
He straightens up with a piece of charred wood in his hand and gets back to you. As he draws black lines on the workbench, he mentions a few names.
Creeks, Foggies, Gales Rock there. Here's the lake.
The map is simplistic and doesn't align with your own understanding of local distances, but you follow his descriptions without issues.
The path here from the south is getting too wild for us.
He repines, making another few strokes.
The merchants travel through the other route, through Howlersdale, passing by Old Pagos and White Marshes. Once they reach Old Foggy, they already have full stomachs and many deals closed, and when they travel back, they visit the same places again. Folks already know that trading here takes a long time.
So you want me to give them an option to get to you first and move west without backtracking and do so all by myself. How exactly?
Well, I'm sure you can find some help.
He pats his stomach without noticing that he leaves a few black dots on his leather jacket.
There's a few things you could do. Follow the eastern road and see if it's clear. Are there any safe shelters left? Any blockades to get rid of? Is there an overgrown path to burn? Maybe see if the road from here to the western crossroads is safe, or if the carts could get through the heart of the woods, if you're brave enough. I hope your soul with sage judgment.
Seeing your puzzled look, he rests his palms on the table. His paws. He's been a dog this whole time. With a shy smile.
I know I'm vague, but I bet you already know more about these roads than I do, friend.
His eyes return to the map, and after a moment of hesitation, he rubs an uneven line with his thumb. How can you know if I'll be honest with you? Where would you like me to start? Wouldn't it be better if you put work into the western road? You could split the labor with the other settlements.
You forgot to mention my payment. Well, that depends on what you're about to do, eh? The tribe has but a few dragons.
To confirm his words, he enters a nearby house from which he picks up an old wooden case, crude in shape, and with an unsightly engraving of a three-headed hydra on its lid. Inside it, you see maybe 24 dragon bones.
Let's say you'll get a dragon for any news about clear the blocked areas, and more if it takes real effort from you.
I think that's pretty fair. I'm not going to push that. No. We want to build reputation. How do you know I'll be honest with you? Where would you like me to start?
Go to the shelters just set at the side of the roads. There's a ruined campsite west of Foggies.
He makes a small circle on his map.
Or you could go south to a cabin our elders built.
He makes a large square.
It's halfway from here to the river. Take a look around, see what's their condition. If there are any beasts around, you can handle a few small creatures, can't you?
So 2 shelters, and then you just want me to take care of anything I find. I think, have we done some of this stuff already? We've seen oh, maybe we haven't gone west of Foggies. We did find an old ruined campsite outside the watchtower. Makes a larger square. It's halfway from here. Okay. The cabin, I remember we saw the cabin. I don't know if we ever really examined it, unless that's the cabin where the foxes were, or those animals that we decided to keep alive. Okay. 2 shelters. He laughs, but not with his eyes. Okay, I'm going to pause the voice. Forgive me, friend, but you don't sound like someone with much experience behind them. You're nothing like Asterion. He took pride in his self-reliance. Oh. Okay. Wouldn't it be better if you put work in the western road? They can't be trusted, especially some of them. He crosses the western side of his map with a long, thin line. Even a paved route would force merchants to add a day of pointless travel to their plans. And that's a big loss in their trade. Having our path clear gives everyone more options and more convenience. It's got to be Howlersdale. I didn't trust them from the beginning. All right. We have a deal. He flashes you a wide smile and pats his stomach. You won't regret this. And then throws away the charred wood, returns to his stool, and looks for his tools. The shelter in the west isn't safe. Better to stay away from it until the dusk foxes move out. Dusk foxes? After he meets your sounds, he carries on. I don't know what that is. You describe their looks and the threat they present as Hila observes the clouds, sometimes asking you to explain more. He finally squeezes his clothes and reaches for a coin that's been resting on the workbench. Well, it sounds not as dangerous as a tribe of goblins, but it may be better for us to hunt them down in spring. We may need your help then, but for now, a single dragon bone will pay for the news. Thanks. Well, that's a start. Keep it up. I took a look at the dolmen from the south. It's safe. He keeps sculpting wood and asks you about the size and the entrance of the chapel. I've heard it's small, but not that small. Not enough for a group, but maybe a lone traveler without a mount. He looks at you with a smile. Pick a dragon bone from the case, will you? I don't want to stop now. You reach toward the ugly head of a hydra. If he's not looking, nah, he'll know. We'll just grab a coin. We're gonna play this properly. Good to see you don't idle around, Roadwarden. I encounter a fallen tree in the far south. You describe its exact location. I guess it was unavoidable for this to happen at one point or another. Too bad it's so far away from here. He stops his work and turns towards you. So, would you like to help us with that, friend? You ask him for what he proposes, and he describes what he calls a day of honest work. Just come to me someday in the early hours. I still need to discuss this with the tribe, but I'll ask the stronger folks to travel with you to the tree. They'll agree if they feel the road can be trusted. Split into blocks, get on the wagons, bring it here. It won't go to waste, and the road will be cleaned. I like that. When you mention it's going to take an entire day, he agrees, and you'll get 5 dragon bones for it. Just come to me when you're healthy, and only if you already know what's on the route from here to that point. We'll put a lot of trust into your guidance and protection, Stoutworthy. Oh! So you want me to get to know the entire route, make sure it's safe enough for your tribe to follow it, and come here in the morning, but only if I can handle the journey. Quite a list, but fine, we'll see. I'm not going to waste an entire day on a dangerous journey just to see how your tribe beats a drunk. No, I'm okay with that. We've done most of this already, I'm pretty sure. He thinks about your words and reaches for a case. You're right, that's a lot. I can't help you much, but at least you deserve 1 bone right away for bringing me the message. Maybe buy some rations for it, or a good rest. Actually, we also need at least 1 day to prepare ourselves. Thanks. We're making bank! I'll let you know if there's anything else. Alright. I like this guy. He's not going to tell us anything about Ephron until later. The village isn't much older than what's the story. What's the story of the village? He proudly raises a carving knife and gestures for you to look around. It may be a young village, but there's a lot to say. While his story is bloated with names, relationships, a step-by-step description of the growth of the settlement, and bothersome creatures, you get to the gist of it. The settlers arrived here 25 years ago, soon after one of the 10 cities had fallen to the southern invasion. Most of them came from the capital, while some joined them along the way. They soon came to realize that none of the villages had enough space or the will to host a few dozen refugees. The folks of Gale Rocks used to have a much kinder attitude towards strangers than they do now, and they offered the newcomers to stay at the beach behind their village. Yet there was nothing for them to eat other than what they caught in the salt waters. They soon started their search for a land remote enough to not compete with the locals, and with the help of kind folks from Gale Rocks, White Marshes, and Old Pagos, and others, as Ela vaguely states, they received enough wood and tools to turn a scrap of this plateau into a clearing, then a camp, a hamlet, and finally a village. So it looks like a lot of people were kind of working together. It seems like there seems to be good relations between most villages, but then some he never wants to name. So something happened, like a betrayal of some sort. Fascinating stuff. The tale is assisted by walking around the village, introducing you with the original setters of their offspring, and showing you some of the treasures displayed in the House of Gatherings. A unicorn's horn found at the heart of the woods, a blue rock that's shaped and hollow like an egg, and is darker inside, an arrow that hit a fright tape in an eye and knocked it down. Behind each of them there are names, stories, and memories. At the very end, Ela leads you back to his workbench, holding a hand on his conspicuous stomach. To give his throat some rest, he turns the topic around. And what are the folks in Hovleven like, friend? Foggy says there are thousands of souls at the capital, and one can go their entire life still finding new faces in the crowd. Oh, we got some big answers. It may be so, but my city feels lonely. There are many people around, but all of them are too busy with the duties to share their lives with others. People spend time with their families and close friends, especially ones they work with. They are close to each other, but no soul knows what happens behind doors. In the evenings, the streets feel empty. It's hard to get to know new people when everyone's so busy, but kids spend a lot of time together and build long-time friendships. One can easily find groups to hang out with. People shop together, work, take baths, pray, and when one has nothing to do in the evening, they just go outside and seek company. It's not easy to build a strong friendship, though. Hard to say. The merchants are getting richer, the priests have their games, craft guilds decide who goes in and out, and the workers have to compete. There are no monsters on the streets, at least not every day, but there's distrust in many souls. This sounds more like I like this answer in terms of the world building. I don't like the whole, it's a great, wonderful city, it's happy. With development, you're always going to be dealing with all this kind of stuff. Greed takes place. This seems like it's a much more realistic direction the city will go in. So we're going to do it! He looks at you with a sigh. I know folks go there to be safe, but what you describe, friend, sounds like a place darker than the heart of the woods. It's not if you're at the top. He adjusts his shoulder cloak and reaches for the next plank without saying anything. I've heard about the bandits. Have they caused you any troubles? Maybe we can squeeze in the rod talk. Let's squeeze in the rod talk. He grabs the rod and looks at it with caution. I wouldn't call her our friend exactly. You'd do better selling this, swinging it left and right like a club. He tells you to wait. It can't be just my decision. I'm going to ask the others, at least a few of them. You rest at the table and observe the man approach various souls and exchange a few words with them. It takes him so long you manage to get bored enough to indulge a little girl who'd like to pet Gordon. The man returns and gives you the rod back. Well, my tribe is thus far from convinced. He wipes the sweat off his forehead. We'd rather stay away from it. Okay, so we gotta get their trust first. I've heard about the bandits. Have they caused you any troubles? People say that Astarion has spent time... Let's talk about the bandits. Makes an awkward cut with a chisel and lets out a quiet shit. And starts to rub the plank with his thumb. Bandits, you say? Soldiers from the city have already taken care of them. What is going on with these bandits? Everyone's got a different story about them. We're gonna quick save. It's probably not easy being a carpenter. You have a healthy imagination. He rests his elbow on the workbench and smiles. I have patience, and I'm getting better with tools. And these are some shoddy tools, he says singingly. And it's hard to disagree with him. They have been used for many years, with only the wooden parts being somewhat in shape since they seem to have been recently replaced. The steel chisels and saws are jagged and dull. The hammers and axes are made of stone. Some of them were brought here by the settlers, and we can't buy any more right now. There's work to be done, but I do have a plan. You ask him to explain, and he's all too eager to do so. He enters the nearby house and shows you his more successful works, each of which has some shortcomings, noticeable even to a layperson. A bowl engraved with fish was poorly planned, with animals too large to fit into the entire space, and so a part of it is blank. A simple relief of two naked people in their embrace looks almost believable, but the legs are in one case too long, and in the other too short. One chair has a broken leg, and the remaining three show that they are a bit too ambitiously shaped and got dangerously thin. The chest seems fine, but equipment sticks out of it, and the man acknowledges that he wrongfully estimated the required size. So you want to be an artist? Better, I want to turn pots, cups, weapons, cupboards, everyday stuff into things of beauty. Seeing your look, he pats his stomach. I know I'm far from mastering it, but trust me, these are so much better than the ones I did this winter, and I started only 3 years ago. His pride makes him look even larger, especially in the shoulders. There aren't many carpenters in this peninsula. Folks do things for their own use. But I'll be a specialist. It's the city thing. Foggy told me so. Not just a jointer, but someone who does only a few things, but better than others. The tribe supports me with food and time, and I'll pay them back with dragon bones and prettier houses. Wow! That's amazing that they're all, like, supporting him. This place seems like my favorite now. Every new place I go to, I think this is going to be my favorite village. This one is probably the best. When he leads you outside, you start to share some of his excitement, but most of it dwindles away after you sit down at his workbench again, on wobbly stools surrounded by broken planks and crude tools. He'll get there. Keep at it. Keep at it. Okay. I think we push him now. You're hiding something. He adjusts his shoulder cape and clears his throat with a grunt. People, eh? Well, there's some truth to that, but Astarion isn't here, and we don't know where he is. He took our coins, but not for fair labor. He moved wares to other settlements, patrolled the roads, escorted an old woman to a druid, and back. Do you know you can get good prices for iron at Howler's Dell, but even better at White Marshes? We need to know that because we got some iron goods to sell. Seeing your look, he turns away and rests his elbow on his workbench. His plans are his own problem, and I have no reason to believe he wanted to be found. Nor can I help you. Be serious now, Yela. I need to know what happened to Astarion. He springs up, still holding his tools and demonstrating his threatening physique, and raises his voice. I am serious. I don't know. He looks behind him and even takes a step back, but with every few gestures, his breath gets a bit slower. He said there's something of great value hidden in the wilderness, Roadwarden. A treasure, I think, and that treasure would change the north. He rubs his forearms, but there is still tension in his shell. He needed help we couldn't give him, and told us to prepare for Gloxia and her bandits to come for supplies. He paid for them up front, but she never came. Neither did he. When he sits down again, he doesn't look at you. I never saw him like that before. He was tired and worried, friend. His words lacked confidence. It may very well be that something caught him, but we weren't a part of this. Now please let me be. So he was working with Gloxia. He needed help we couldn't give him and told us to prepare for Gloxia and her bandits to come for supplies. He paid for them up front. So he's working with these bandits. They came here to pick up the supplies that Astarion paid them for. And then they went into the middle. Did Gloxia follow him? Gloxia has to be somewhere around here, and we're going to find out a lot of information from her. Very well. Gordon is lazy, looking around as a rest in the dusty path. I go to Old Hava the farmer. Oh, there's a lot that I want to check out here. Let's do a quick save. Let's go to Ephraim. He raised an eyebrow, then the wolf's head, as if to see you better. What do you think about Ela? He repeats her question, making sure he heard correctly, then scratches the wolf's head. I respect him. He took good care of me as an older brother. He's boring, you know that, and hides a lot behind those smiles of his. He spends days in the workshop thinking we may be both as weak as we are now, and smart enough to prosper. There's work to be done. He mimics the carpenter's cadence. Aye, there always is. You want to ask about the weakness, but he gives you no time to speak. There's almost no folks from the older generations left. Did you notice? Foggy and Old Hava are the only two still capable of doing work, but they aren't getting any younger, and are already wounded. You think about the tavern keeper's lost arm. We were always lacking in numbers, blades, tools, and skills. The beast took many souls, but Ela won't talk about it. He'd rather forget them and tie this place to the other villages, making us merchants and rotten carpenters. He adjusts his cloak, boiling from frustration. Then risk the lives of the younger tribesfolk on training and hunting. We've suffered so much, yet we're becoming even weaker. He calms himself down in silence. Are you the only hunter around? But of course not. He takes a suspiciously long pause. 7 of us. The tribe is small. We have enough food without daily trips. If we catch too much meat, it spoils, so it's better to let the animals feel safe. You try to change the topic, but the man suddenly looks around and lowers his wolf's head. Well, there's just one issue. 3 of my friends left the village many days ago, and I think they may be dead already. Ela sure thinks so. We got that pelt. It must have been from a hunter. Do the hunters from Pelt know anything to your job? I'll try to find them. He walks around from time to time, looking at you with an open mouth, not sure how to start. He takes off his heavy cloak and looks you in the eyes. They left for a few days to seek and kill some big game, each of them a different one, then bring all of them for me to judge. His confident voice falters when he mentions his own part. The winner would have caught me the prey of the greatest size, rarity, utility, and of the greatest threat. He turns away and lowers the wolf's mouth. Let's say where to find them. What should I tell them? Does your tribe often send lone hunters? Why not work in groups? Tell me more about the 3. They are hunters and fighters, but also close friends. If one of them was in trouble, the others would have done all they could to help. They've been a team for years, and were planning to start a family this winter, you know. Their last big adventure before Dahlia's belly locks her at home. He gives you quite a tale of their deeds and features. Dahlia is the bravest of them. With strong legs, she has simple ways and looks for beasts in the open. By the roads, her hair is light, always tied in a single braid. Now, we've met Dahlia, I'm pretty sure. Isn't Dahlia the one that's, like, down by the, what's it called? In the south of the map. I can't remember the place. Admin is a man who seeks paths and challenges. He's believed to be seeking knowledge of the peninsula that will bring the tribe ways to survive hardship. He was, and smaller than the others, and knows more about dressing the wild game than any of us. His arms are small, so he often places traps. His hair is a bit darker than Dahlia's, but short, just like his beard. Vascal is not a man, though they were born with a prick, and wears browns and greens to blend in with the trees. They hunt like a gargoyle, hiding among leaves, jumping at creatures when it gets close. Because of that, they have often roamed in the woods, even those that are far away from the village. That sounds serious, but if you want me to look for them, I still deserve a reward. What should I tell them if I find them? Have you no short of optimism? Maybe they're fine, just tell them to come home. We've got enough wood and food to start the next feast, and I have a hint of an honorable guest may be welcome there. He smiles at you, and for a moment you think you see the wolf's head wink. Is there going to be a reward? Isn't helping 3 young, strong souls enough? Seeking your look, he raises his voice, draws his edge club, and touches his chest with it. Then I will lowly assist you, friend, for your brave deeds. You may count on me on a day of great challenge. He lowers his weapon and winks at you, and others will be grateful as well. You know that. Oh, okay. An ally, you say. What's up, Dragon Bones? I'll take the man with the big club. Where should I start? I would have found them myself if I knew. Let the horse take you to other settlements. Ask there. Okay, do they often send lone hunters? This isn't a hunt, but a competition. The winner's name's their first child. I've heard their arguments. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to pick a name when you have 3 parents. He chuckles to himself. Once the memory fades, he gets serious again, but I can't disagree with you, friend. It's the first time in many years since my tribe's folk has gone on such reckless trip, and I fear it may remind us why the peninsula isn't safe for adventurers. I'll tell you if I find anything. Didn't we find Dahlia? I could have sworn we met Dahlia. Does this rawhide belong to your tribe? He gives it only a glance, then throws it away. I think so. After you describe where you found it, he reaches toward the wolf's head, but doesn't touch it. Me and the other hunters go to this place in spring. When there's fewer beasts around, sit on blankets. He points at the hide. Eat before the hunt. Maybe you'll find a trail there. Okay. So if we return to that place, but we need to be able to deal with those howlers. We need the earplugs. We got the earplugs. So I think we can probably go back there and scare them off. Okay, I'll tell you if I find anything. What sort of traps would you put in a tunnel? Depends, he drawls. Got anyone to help you? Then start with taking a good look around. Find some sticks, tools, maybe beast tusks this long. He shows you a span with his fingers. Or bigger. What's your catch? You mention the skeletons and he scratches the side of his hat, grunting. Then, a bit fast, eh? Put something fast too, but firm. But hitting right away, but camouflaged. But he sees you frown and straightens up. Well, let's say you can find any wood. Put deadfalls where you can gather hard things to drop, maybe above doors, and whip traps behind turns and corners. But these take a lot of work. Foothold traps are easier to make, but if the tunnel is rocky, oh lazy spirits, just come with me. You take a short walk to the woods and he shows you a few spots with traps for animal feet, made of short slats surrounding camouflage holes, and tells you how to place some larger traps without having trees around. You head back to the village and repeat his instructions. Amazing. Can we now do it? Is that all we needed? Let's see. Do the hunters from Pell to the north hinder your job? Now, the only they get closer they chase after a wounded prey, so our would stay mostly the same. You could have another village twice our size. He glances towards the gate, halfway from here to Pelt, and there would still be more than enough game for every belly, as long as they would forage and set up farms. You ask him if he has ever considered joining professional hunters, but he takes off the wolf's head and gives it to you so you can take a better look. It's weirdly warm from the sun. That's the only wolf any of us felled in the last 5 years, you see. Not that we're cowards, he suddenly raises his voice. Our trade just isn't like the big game hunters. I place fish traps, put glue to catch birds, shoot rocks and rats at rabbits. When in a group, we may seek roe deer or aurochs. He takes the hat back and looks at it with nostalgia. Those in the inn seek trophies, not meat. So they hunt for big beasts, ones that, fight back. Our ways are different, but I like that bunch. At least they smile, unlike others in the peninsula. Hunters will always find a common tongue. Once you see enough blood and guts, you have to laugh or go crazy. Have you ever had an opportunity to work with Erastus from Hallersdale and Cassia from Gale Rocks? Do you know their trade? Aye, with both of them, but I'd rather hunt for frogs than waste my time teaching them both how not to trip over their own feet. He rubs the forehead of his wolf, not aware that you're waiting for him to tell you more. What, surprised? He finally adds. Erastus barely knows how to catch a rabbit or a sparrow, and he's as much of a trapper as a child with a stick is a soldier. And Cassia's even worse. Big mouth, sure, but whenever we seek blades at Gale Rocks to help us catch big prey, she suddenly gets a headache. Alright. What do you know about the road running through the heart? I know to avoid it. Blood there. Seeing that you're waiting for a longer tale, he adjusts his heavy cloak, spending a good minute on making sure that you understand it's a dangerous place. You'll do better riding around it. The northern road is the safest, he concludes. After you insist that any sort of guidance may be of use, he scratches the wolf's head. I've heard from a friend that gnolls were moving there. Those very small beast folk, He moves an open hand close to his hips, portraying the height. They'll threaten you until you give them some meat, and that's all they'll eat. No fruits. No, I don't know, bones. But it's the fright tapes that scare me the most, and there's an entire family of them. Trust me, if you ever hear the terrible scream of a human somewhere in the tree crowns, run as fast as you can. Don't seek it, and certainly don't fight it. Just ride as fast as you can. I bet you that was the weird child voice that was screaming that we heard, because we were kind of moving towards the heart of the woods there when we met the undead village. I wonder if that was one of these what are they called, fright tapes. About the hunters. Okay. Good hunting. Okay, we gotta see what this old Hava's all about. She's been eyeballing us the whole time. You follow the path between fields, witnessing a one-sided conversation between old Hava, a barely adult man. Oh, and a barely adult... My brain broke. She orders him around, pointing at various plants, criticizing the sight of weeds and dressing the fancy clothes he's wearing. He observes his red-dyed boots and lets out a relieved sigh after your arrival. I better change, he mumbles, heading to the main square. I step out of his way. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna take a quick break and I'll be right back. I gotta get a snack and a glass of water. Just sit tight and buckle up. Alright, we're back. Now, interesting, I was pondering again as I was scarfing down a couple hard-boiled eggs. It says that her hands are constantly twitching. It seems like all these characters that are old especially if they that have kind of lived through this war that happened and the change that happened in the landscape and the people. They all have something about them, right? Whether they've lost limbs or they're got some kind of, like, he's got something with his stomach. Even Foggy had something as well, I'm pretty sure. There seems to be a remnant in the older generation. And I'm interested if that's connected to an event or if that's just, you know, old age. How you doing? Youth, huh? Back in my day. What do you, oh, we can just go right to what do you have for sale? Don't test my patience. I wait patiently. I kind of feel like this isn't really being vulnerable. I feel like this could also be respectful in this case. I kind of feel like we just wait for them. I wait patiently. After a minute, you realize her keen eyes are indeed observing the leaves. Instead of just disregarding your presence, she clears her throat and points at one of the carrots. Their color is good, dark, but they're small. I think the soil is too dense. She's gathering her thoughts for another few breaths, then looks at you softly. I have time now, Roadwarden. I'm looking for a place to sleep. We need another hut, and we have no space for it. She gazes at you with dry, tired eyes. If you need a scrap of floor, go to the tavern. What do you have for sale? We sold what we had. We're lacking hunters, and these, she looks at wrinkled vegetables, will go into a stew, if they're even worth picking. Without noticing it, she grabs her left forearm with her right hand, but it doesn't stop twitching. We always have a fish trap to spare. We make them just in case. A large basket, put it in a creek, and wait a day or two, until something swims inside. I'll sell you one for 2 dragon bones. Ooh! And if you'd rather eat something right away, she carries on after a short pause, our cooks would spare you a roast goose or a chicken. It'll be cold but fresh. We always have one. You never know when there are maggots in your supplies, and kids shouldn't skip a meal. You ask her to tell you more, but her patience grows thin. It's the best light roast in the north. We add plenty of spices to it so it spoils slowly. That's it. Show me how this trap works. We already have a fish trap, but I guess we could get more fish traps and just put them all over the place. A roast chicken, a spiced whole meal cooked with care. You currently have 0 of them. I wonder why it says that. It's like a different kind of meal. Maybe it gives you more filling food. I think we're fine for food. So we don't really need to get anything here. Do we want another fish trap? I kind of want to save. I kind of want to save the money. Alright. I didn't expect much merchants to reach this place. Why don't you move your traps to Foggy's? What's it to you? She doesn't wait for your response. Does her yard look like it has space for nets? Okay, that's fair. Farewell. We'll see you later, old Hava. I approach the shallow creek. With the calming sounds of a waterfall around you, you observe the stream as clean as a spring. The oak ash soap you own is not enough to help you get cleaner. You need at least 2 pieces of bathing equipment. We gotta be able to do something. In an hour, I'll remove bloodstains from my clothes. I jump into the stream. Let's go! Nothing like a good swan dive. There are no fish or plants to bother you with your feet in the mud and among the not always smooth pebbles. The water reaches above your waist, allowing you to have some fun and wash every spot of your shell. Thanks to the gentle flow, you're able to remove the mud stains from your clothes and boots. I say we spend the hour. Beautiful. Thanks to the bird, soaking, pounding, and rubbing the fabric goes smoothly. Maybe there's some locals looking for a match. After a few minutes, you find yourself sitting at the table with Shushi, a dark-haired 20-year-old who some call a woodcutter, others a singer. In both of these roles, her massive stature must be of help. When she walks, she either carries a large axe on her shoulders or swings it around, towering over her tribesfolk like a chieftain for the tales of war. She admits she enjoys a friendly shag from time to time, but can't see a future for her in creeks. Enough of these friends lose their lives in the wilderness. I start seeing cats and gargoyles in every shadow. I'd rather have a few calm, safe years at the side of a pretty little woman whom I'll see in my bed in the evenings, though you know, friend, not just her. She lets out sonorous laughter. You mention that you don't know if she'll be able to keep her trade after moving away, and she strokes her axe with affection. I'd miss the woods, but who knows, my tribe can't be the only one that cuts trees around here, You try to ask her about her worldview, but she gets bored by the topic. We're here, she looks around, have no temples and priests, and I don't aim to become one. I tell her about Marina from Gale Rocks. Well, you found quite the someone, friend. and I've heard a lot of good things about her home, but this right talk makes me worried. Are you sure she'd be ready to keep our bonds loose? Seeing your shrug, she sighs. Tell her about me. Don't hide my plans, just speak of me kindly, she laughs. If she wants to have fun with me, I'll make her life warmer, and I love kids. For the first time, her smile becomes humble and kind instead of playful. Farewell. Hey, we may have found someone. I think that was the woman that was very important to have someone with religious background. So she's not going to be too happy with or Shishosh or whatever the name was. Quick save. Okay. Shoshishi. I guess we're all done here, aren't we? Gordon is observing the monkeys.
What are you doing, Gordon? What's this?
I survived a few confrontations. Let's go. We're getting strong. I guess there's nothing more here. And he's not going to... There's more stuff to talk to him about, but we can't really speak to him today. Okay, travel. That's it. We need to get down to her. And also the cabin. Okay, hold on. Let me take a look at our journal to ensure we hit the right spots. Alright, that's our personal goal, to get wealth. The tunnels are good. I have to find them. I should consider construct some simple traps. Oh, so that didn't really give us anything. I thought talking to him and him taking us to show us around was going to teach us something. What the hell? Maybe just an update? Eastern Path. Ela wants me to get to know the roads that connect Foggy Lake with both the western crossroads and the southern crossroads as much as I can to make them more secure. Okay. Or at least bring him news about what can be done to make them so. I'll receive a direct depending on what I accomplish. Okay, so maybe just revisiting those places will help. The fallen tree was a big one. They've gone west. Oh, I'm still scared to go to the west, but we're gonna have to at some point. Told me I should speak with Elpis, the Druidess. Elpis and Howler's Dell. Healing the plague, matchmaking. Orentius the necromancer. What was him again? I should report back to Thias. Recruit a hunter. This one I think we're done, right? I could... Oh, it's Dali, not Dalios or whatever. Okay. I could ask a few more people about him. There's so many people to talk to about this guy. Jesus! I'm convinced Cassia's a bad candidate for job. Okay, so there's somebody left with Erastus and Howler's Dell. It's probably people in Howler's Dell. We didn't do a lot of talking to people over there because we didn't trust them. Alright. But I'm pretty sure both are bad candidates. We don't want to do the Spirit Walk. Support for Howler's Dell. Thanos wants me to spy. I don't want to give it more human blood. Where was the finding the people? Did I miss it? Missing hunters. Here we go. I still have to find 3 of the hunters. Path and challenge. He believes that he's seeing no bring to survive. The hardship is smaller. Okay, so I think if we just revisit some of these places, we might get lucky to find them now that we know that we're going to be looking for certain things. Especially where we found the what's it called? The pelt. We found that old pelt, and we could follow a path from there. Where was it? Was it the apes and monkeys? The fighters are scared the most, and there's a family of them. Oh, they're types of apes. Fright apes. I get it. Who were the ones that were, the Howlers. That's it, the Howlers. Don't we have earplugs? I remember someone giving us earplugs. Did I have a dream about that? Would it be in our, like, our tools section? Like a travel set? Earplugs. Awesome. Alright, so if we travel, we also can go back here, I think, and climb the rocks with the climbing gear. So from here, maybe we head back to Foggy Lake, talk to some people, and then move down this path. See what we can clear out. I think there's still a lot of things we haven't really done yet, and we want to talk to her as well, get a whole bunch of money for the rods we've placed. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Onward! Enter the tavern. Nothing to sell. Questions about the peninsula. Did we learn anything more that we want to ask? I don't think so. Foragers, what are you guys doing? Admund, Dahlia, and Vashel didn't return for their hunting trip. Did they share any plans with you? Why would they, growls VC? They don't waste our time. We don't bother with theirs. Elen's eyes are a bit warmer. Efren already asked us. They ate there on the stairs, then left days ago. They didn't want to get in each other's way, so they planned to spread. That's all I know. Seeing your look, he spreads his arms in an awkward shrug. They were laughing, eating, all confident and strong. I didn't know they would disappear. You consider his words when the shorter man starts to snap his fingers. Wait, I heard one thing. Something about, yeah, that they won't go north because of the dark magic in the tunnel. Oh, then it's smart of them, concludes Ilan with a humble smile. Better than nothing, eh? I'm sure they're fine. Well, I guess there's nothing really north but that city, so we know they didn't go to the city. Do you think, wouldn't it be interesting if they ended up going north and they're the skeletons in that cave? That would be jock. Nothing to say to the foragers. Okay, I don't think there's anything left here to do. We don't need to eat, so let's keep traveling. We'll head to the Wanderer, see if we can find anything at the stone. Well, yeah, let's do south first. In about half an hour, I could use my axe to cut down the bushes and twigs. Why would I want to do that? But we're going to do it. Oh, maybe we're just clearing things up? You tether Gorin to the tree, letting it choose between dwinking, grazing, and napping. You prepare your equipment. Keeping an eye on the bush where you saw... where you saw the rabbit's last moments. You use your weight to move the plants to one side, then cut right above the ground. The stems are healthy and flexible, so getting through them is rough, but you have enough strength to deal with them in a couple minutes. Then throw them into the lake. The work goes on for a bit. Once you're done, the statue stands in its former glory. A couple of old offerings are still on the pedestal. Polished rocks, bone figurines, and moldy bowls and plates that used to store food. In one vessel, you see a dragon bone. It's dark and could be older than a generation, but it would surely be accepted by any merchant. This coin was left here for a good reason. I should leave it behind. Yeah, we're gonna respect the woods right now. You return to Gordon. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna take it. I consider washing myself. I make an offering to the Wanderer and ask for protection. I wonder if this is something I should do, like, before we head into the what's it called? Before we go to the center. I remember we learned about this. I don't know if it'll be in here, but they mentioned the statue and what it's supposed to give. White Marshal, Pagos, Howler's Dell, Hunters from the Pelt, Heart of the Forest. No, it's not gonna. It's probably not gonna be in any of these. Glossary? Geography. Could be part of the religion. Right, and say your tablets. No, I don't think so. I am curious though. Let's see what happens if I make an offering. Your surroundings are silent as if they're holding their breath. I place a fair share of food. I place a coin on the pedestal. Someone else put a coin here. So I feel like a coin would be the right thing to do. Let's do it. See what happens. You open your pouch and place it directly on the cold stone. There's no sign of Wanderer's greatness. She doesn't bow, nod, nor smile. Not a single beautiful bird sits down on her head, nor squirrel show up on the tree. After a minute or so, you return to your mount, feeling tranquil and prepared. Okay. Okay, we can't wash ourselves any further, right? Yeah. Alright, let's continue on. The foraging grounds. Hopefully we can make our way back to a sleeping spot. Some little furry creatures flee from you through the short grass. Nothing here is as loud as your palfreys if you don't spot any large predators. I could try forward so it would take even more time. Let's do it though while we're here. 2 bunches of wild plants. We need the wild plants to be able to... Well, one, we can make food in some places, but we can also travel into the necromancer place. You were familiar with the value, but you don't think it has much more food. Okay, travel. What time is it? We have 5 hours. 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Oh, and there's no place to rest. The nearest place to rest is down at Pelt of the North, which is a 4-hour hike away. I wonder if we can find something in the cabin, though. We might as well continue going this way, and then if we have to, maybe we go straight down to the Pelt of the North. And then sleep there and then make our way back up. Okay, let's try out this cabin. I don't think we've ever been here. The only tracks in sight belong to the small critters. The cabin has no window, but a stubborn beast could easily burst in through the old thatch. The gust of wind doesn't move the door. A curious ibex observes you from the crag, but flees before your graze. I check on the cabin. You tether Gore into the sporting beam, but its curious eyes are tracking the crickets that jump among the grass blades. You stretch your limbs, adjust your armor, and reach for the axe. Eavesdrop is smarter to do, but I kind of feel like bursting in. Just blasted in there, like, hello! It is I burst in. A spider looks at you from the center of the web. Its shell is larger than your head, and the thin legs are longer than your arms. Its countless hair blends in with the walls. They're brown-gray cream. What do you do? I think. Is it a big spider, or is it just like a little tiny spider? Our greatest foe. Oh. Scream? Quick save. We scream. The spider doesn't wait for you. It leans forward silently, shaking the entire web, and you fail to avoid its spit. The sticky ooze hits your eyes, covering them like a glued cloth. We screamed at it! Come on, it should have buckled in fear. I drop my weapon and clean my eyes. I swing my blade. We don't have time to clean my eyes. I swing my blade left and right without pause. I wait for the spider to approach me, then dash at it fiercely. I drop my weapon and grab the spider with my bare hands. I think we just go violently swinging. We spin to win. I should clean my eyes. We're gonna spin to win. Okay, we took some health. You cut the air at knee height, but somehow the creature reaches your side. Your calf gets pierced by the spear's sharp leg. Your heart beats faster, yet you control your limbs and remain standing. The next swing lands. The sack of flesh smacks the floor and clicks in agony. You hear only your own heart and the chirping of the insects outside. You're getting sweaty. Your eyelids can't even blink. You drop the axe on the floor, then sit on the threshold blindly. I watch out for my eyes, but act quickly, harshly pulling the ooze. I remove it gently, bit by bit. Oh, the saliva clings tightly to your skin, but stretching with your fingers help. The eyelids are the worst part, but you're grateful for your reflexes. At least you still have eyes. You get to see the light slowly, then the shapes. The thing turns out to be gray and white. You stand up and look around. The room is covered with a thick layer of dust. Getting through the web could be risky. A single thread won't stop you, but a bunch of them could grapple you for good. I can't search the building with a spider web around. Well, that was awesome. Every conflict in this game is very stressful, it feels, and I like that feeling. Like, I thought, okay, we hit him, so he's probably dead. A hit to the X is probably dead, so we should be safe to take our time. But I can imagine if we started to clean our eyes early, he probably would have done a lot more damage to us. Alright. Someone could be interested in such a thick web. I spend an hour or so gathering it. And then we can search the cabin afterwards. We have 3 hours before dusk. It's not telling me how long it's going to take us to get there. We've never had to set up a shelter in the wilderness before. But I wonder if we could sleep here if we clean everything around. We're gonna spend an hour or so gathering it. Just in case. I don't want to just light it up with a candle. You gather a spool of spider silk. You bring a twig from outside to use it as a spool. You don't have much practice, and wearing the gloves makes the necessary gestures even more awkward. From time to time, the silk breaks, but it shouldn't be a problem for a tailor. It's a material for stitching and wouldn't be turned into a cloth anyway. You notice maybe a dozen defensive spiderlings. They flee towards the exit with their speed limited by their tiny legs. They're smaller than a finger. Trent. They have the right to live. I just don't want to get my boots dirty. Creatures crawl over the threshold to spear among the grass blades. It could be the first time they've ever been touched by the sun. Oh, this is going to get dangerous. I drag the spider carcass away and throw it into the forest. I search the building. You picked up 2 quarrels. The chest hides a few old water skins and Annabelle stale wax. Among them, however, you find 2 quarrels were crossed by the bones of no obvious owner, but judging by their age and the lack of skull or human-like hands, you doubt they could be awoken by the fogs. the boots, rugged pants, and old sticky tunic, and other scraps are cheap and hide no jewelry. The bowls and mugs are empty. Alright. Drag them out. You put on your thick gloves and grab the spider legs at once. The corpse isn't heavy, so you drag it behind you. You reach the bushes at the edge of the road and lift up the entire creature. The more you shake it, the more distracting the twitches of its legs get. You send it into a tree trunk. It sinks into the thicket, causes a bit of rustling on the leaves. Oh, we got 2 hours. Enter the cabin. There's nothing there. We can make it back in time. I think we have to go back to Foggy's, right? I remember there's a campsite here, but we need to get inside, I think, to turn into a sleeping spot. Yeah, maybe we head back to Foggy's. Oh, I feel like we're wasting a lot of time, but that was a big thing. We cleared this cabin out, so it could be a nice stopping point for the settlers going up and forward. So I know that the Creeks are going to be happy about that, I think. Let's go back to Foggy's. We got to sleep. We got food waiting there as well. I have some things I'm willing to part with? No, okay. Sleep. I don't want to spend all that money, but I don't want to lose hearts. That's the problem. This place, you lose hearts. This doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's just to gain the heart back for 1 gold. I think there's a value in that. The rain once again hits the ground, interrupting your sleep. Another day of muddy roads. You notice it while you undress. One of your recent wounds is going to leave a mark. I first notice it by touch, then see it in the reflection of my blade, a long cut on my cheek. The deep cut in my hand still hurts, especially when I make a fist. I manage to ignore it, but the only cut on my leg hurts every step. The bruise on my stomach looked like the night sky. Why would I care? Oh, you get to choose where you get a scar? That's cool. I kind of feel like a nice cut on the hand. A lot can be spoken about a character based on their hands. We're a hard worker. We've fought difficult fights, you know? Let's do it. Deep cut in my hand still hurts. The days are getting shorter. Oh. Listening to the grunts of the annoyed Gordon makes you feel uneasy, but at least the furs covering the fort are helping you relax. You don't even notice when it's already morning, and while the smell coming from the lower floor is not inviting, at least it's not you who has to take care of it. Foggy turns towards you and waits for you to speak. I like to eat. Wonderful. Time for me to go. We could rest. No, we don't need to. We travel. Let's head to the old bridge. Take a look around. Uh-oh, that's never a good sign. The familiar howls make you sigh. The spotted wolves dash out of the meadows, starting their chase on you. Oh, right. Seems like they return here every now and then. You look for anything that could teach them a lesson. I have nothing to fight them off with. What can we do against wolves? How are we going to clear these guys out? My crossbow is ready. You reach for the drawn crossbow and bolt and lock it in your sights with the closest creature. You wait until it shoots once it's midair. The arrow flies through the wolf's flesh, causing it to let out a pain cry and plunge to the ground. After another few minutes, you're alone again. This time the crossbows at the foot of the watchtower. Let's hope the pack of wolves will now move to a different spot, at least for a few days. So every couple of days they return. I don't know how to deal with those guys yet. I use the bone hook of mine. Oh, let's go. The watchtower is blending with the wilderness like a spider. What? A spider the size of a human head crawls up the wall. When it senses your presence, it runs to the top and disappears on the other side. Hook shot. Getting the roof takes you a good few minutes. Tying the rope to the bone hook is easy enough, though you struggle to throw it just right. After a few attempts, it finally lands in such a way that's stuck in one of the crenels. You pull it, jump it in place to make sure it won't let go under your weight. Then you get to the top, walking on the surface of the wall. You find a crack between two of the bricks and use the rod to wind it a bit. You push it halfway in and fill the gaps with a linen cloth. You move it a couple times to be sure it won't fall down. You wonder if it's going to lure any lightning. I climb down slowly. Let's go. I was hoping we could get something there, but there's the rod at the top. We shoved it right in there. Let's look at the campfire. You have 0 raw fish in your profession. What would you like to do? I guess we could, like, gather firewood and cook here. But we don't really need to do that. Approach the entrance. I could just break through with my axe. But we want to keep this place safe. We want to keep this place safe. Okay, return to the crossroads. Take a look at the signpost. Alright, that's not really going to tell us anything new. Okay. Let's take a pit stop at Old Eudocia's. Where was the, oh, that's the peat fields, this guy. And maybe we try and go... Oh, that's a little scary, though. I don't know if that's going to lead to the heart of the forest. But maybe it'll lead to just, like, a gate. Only one fly is feasting on the rotting carcass of a snake that's on the other side of the road. You touch the cold chest, there's no response. I wait for as long as it takes for her to let me in. Is it too late? Isn't she, like, only in the morning or something like that? I wait. It's getting colder, but finally the monster eyes goes red. Go inside, I'll be with you soon. Enter the yard. Alright, we got lots of stuff. We got lots of stuff to talk to her. Let's trade. What did you have? A spirit rock. No. Costs 11? Where'd all our money go? A few hunters recently left Crease. Admon, he was here, alright. He asked me about the lands east of the stone bridge in the north, but I couldn't help him much. Those lands are better left to. She pauses, then waves off. Asked me about the lands east of the stone bridge in the north, but I couldn't help him much. East? So we have to wait a day. They're gonna leave. Then we can go back here and finally explore these areas, maybe? Okay, that's good to know. You need to wait for a day for the spotted wolves to leave. Okay. Why did you ask me to place a rod in the White Marshes specifically? Is it because of the undead? I know why. She scratches the ground with her foot, then points at her golem. I still need to do a bit of work with the sentinels, but I hope to offer one to them. Maybe in the spring, it could replace 10, 20 humans. The villagers may not have much food right now, but I know how to be patient. That's very pragmatic of you. What can I say? She brushed along with her. I'd rather be safe than scared. Okay. Oh, I bring news of your parents. I'm sorry. She closes her eyes. Her voice becomes absent. Back to trade then. I'm going to lower the price of my spirit rocks for you by 2 dragons. I think that's fair. She opens her gray eyes, and you notice the tears. Her voice is shaking. I need a moment. Definitely. I'll brush my horse. You use this hour to rest from riding. Oh, this is getting dangerous, though. You exercise a bit, practice combat stance with your axe, then brush Gordon, which gladly takes a nap. When Adosha leaves her house, she crouches by the bucket of water and washes her face. Once she straightens her up and turns towards you, there's a shadow of a smile on her lips. I'm glad you stayed around, but I'll be fine. Is there aught I can do for you? We got a lot of things to talk about. I spoke with the monks. They're quite afraid of you. Are they now? She meets your eyes. What did they tell you? As you recollect your memory, she patiently listens to your tale, staring at the distance of their arms crossed. So that's how they see me now, a beast spending every breath to hurt them. Yet they still ask me to put spells in their tools. She remained still, moving only her lips, drawing out every word. All it took was for me to move on, to leave them behind. They call themselves pacifists, unlike bloodshedding unites, they say. Yet forced my tribe to work for them, from their birth to the pyre. It's the same sickness of the soul, believing that ye see the truth, that all other souls are blind. When she realizes that her voice is getting close to a shout, she falls silent. I saw some words on your golems. What do they mean? Well, not yet. Okay, maybe yes. What do those words mean? She looks at your... It's not warden decorations. I got questions about them. Isn't it clear what they are? Furniture that walks and works. They carry rocks and logs, hunt kind of, and protect this place while rest. What else is there to say? Do they talk? Eudosha still moves her lips, but her words are coming from the stone creature, which doesn't move an inch. No more than the gargoyle you've seen. The voice is deep, distorted by an echo. They don't need meat or bones and listen to my commands, but have no understanding of what's happening around them. To create a sentient creature, you'll need a human shell, and a whole lot of necromancy. A golem raises its hands and shows you its palms. and I'm not going to touch that. She then mentions that her creation isn't much of a messenger. It needs to remain close to her. Just look at it. The golem covers its non-existent mouth. It has no eyes, snout, ears. Seeing the world through its head is like putting your eyeball into a rose bush. It takes pneuma, and the further away it is, the more exhausting it gets. How do you make one? I fill each rock with pneuma, bind them together. She pauses, then waves it off. You won't build one anyway. Like alchemists, enchanters have their own secrets, and I've got no way of sharing my talents with others. Is it for sale? One day, or so I hope, she points at a golem's hand. One wrong order and it'll tear your head away, or kick over a house. It won't ever be safe, but the dead make for bad customers, and I won't be blamed for others' stupidity. Her further answers come in greater detail, but they're rather complex. From what you understand, she plans to invent a set of very specific commands that could be quickly learned, then bind them to a wand, binding it to the creature. I'm still not sure if it's the safest solution. If a wand was taken by a reaver, stuff could get ugly. It's so loud when it walks, don't monsters react? She lets out a chuckle. They'll flee from them as they would from trolls. They can't stalk their prey or jump on them from a bush. But when they don't move for long, beasts take them for rocks. It's not like they need to breathe. It just sits still, waiting for a roe deer to get close. The golem's eye suddenly gets brighter. It jumps forward and punches the air. It lands with a sound of thunder. That's why I need them to be so large, the enchantress explains. I can't give them muscles. The speed I give them is pure pneuma. Being firm and heavy helps. She disregards your mention of the wrath of the herds. True, I make more mess than most humans would, but that's one of the reasons why I stay away from the villages. Being all alone, I give the beasts time to get used to my walls, and my sentinels know to stay away from unicorns and pebblers. Unicorns seem to be quite dangerous creatures in this place. Let's change the topic. What's with the gargoyle? Can they show off their trophy? She gives you a proud smile. My sentinels took it down years ago. The tribe of Old Pagos is fond of statues, so I have my own. Like in the old days, long before monks came to the north. Senior puzzler, she twirls her hair. A dead gargoyle on the road or by a village gate was meant to scare off evil spirits. I don't know about that, but its sight sure taught the local beasts who they're dealing with. The roads around the watchtower and Tailbush shake. Why don't your golems look after them? Why would I bother? You expect her to continue, but her question is in earnest. The paths are getting overgrown. Soon, getting to the other villagers will become close to impossible. She twirls her hair, looking in the direction of the tower. It may be for the better, she starts listlessly, then shakes her head gently. You may be right. I hope the trail would take care of itself, with traders and all, but the years are getting emptier. Still, I need my workers to seek food, and to guard my wall. She speaks mostly to herself. I could bring you some rations in return. The more bronze rods there are spread across the peninsula, the easier it is for me to send the golems to the work. For now, let's say 21 rations. I guess gentler roads will get me more food anyway, so Jesus, I'll think about it. But if we get the rods, we'll be in better talks. What can you tell me about enchantments? Not really, don't know how I do this stuff. As a kid, I put pneuma into my toys. I made my earthen sparrow fly, and my whistle gave a tune without being blown. I practiced for years, but by doing, not by understanding. She puts a hand on her hips and observes her clean nails. I can't teach stuff that's in my fingers or my eyes or my breath. It's just a part of me. I need a place to rest. Even though she drawls out her words with frustration, she speaks with ease, and if she's reaching, remember my speech. I know how harsh the words can be, but I don't offer shelter to travelers. I don't want to look behind my own shoulder for hours. Here's my goal is to protect you. Travel north or south, look for a tavern inn. You'll find safe out there. She blinks and crosses her arms, and we're both adults. Don't tell me that I could bind you with a rope or take away your blades. The less I have to touch you, the better. Damn it. She doesn't trust me enough, I'm guessing. I want to collect my reward for the bronze rods. There's still more to place. I'm going to quick save here because I want to collect some of it. I still want to give her more rods. 12. Wipes down the road, puts one into her pocket, and waits for you to describe the locations where you've placed the rods. She asks you for a few deals, then thinks aloud. Let's see, 6 rods in total. That would be... Here you go. I pull out my pouch. She already paid me for the rods I placed. Okay, so I'm guessing we can continue to place more rods. Let me see. Inventory. We have 2 rods left. Okay. Perfect. So now we got a lot of money we can use to do great things. I want to talk to her about the kid. It still costs 9. I thought she said she was going to give us a discount for these. Maybe it did cost more. Useful for spellcasters. Let me look at this quest again. Spirit Rock. A fisher from Grandeur asked me to travel to an enchantress who lives in the east to ask her for a spirit rock to help Phoebe, his spellless daughter. According to Eudocia, her spirit rocks won't help in this scenario. I wonder if we should still have a spirit rock with us. for another scenario. But I just want to get that girl away from her dad. Her dad's the problem. I guess that's it. We're kind of screwed here. Is there any place we can travel to seek shelter? We can't make it anywhere. I guess this is probably the best place to seek shelter. I wonder if that matters, if it's like the location makes a difference. Seek shelter. Is this all the health? You can't sleep here, but there's still time to move to a safer spot. You can find the closest shelter at Pell to the north, but the creatures of the night are surely going to attack you. Does this mean you lose all your health? Okay, let's travel as close as we can get. Yeah, at least we can get as close as we can get. Oh, this is bad news. The rocks have been cleaned by centuries of rain and wind. You get startled by the sight of animal scales, then realize it's just a basking grass snake. Soon it vanishes among the rocks. I have second thoughts about the investigation. We can wash ourselves. There we go. All we can do is seek shelter at this point. I don't have any second thoughts about the investigation. I hope this doesn't mean we're dead. I'm gonna make a hard save. Throw it in here. Okay, seek shelter. Okay, yeah, it took all our health. Holy hell. You're on the verge of death and it affects your appearance. The yard is stained with coughed up blood. The trail leading into the building. The hunters are tense with weapons at hands, looking at you as if you're bringing them answers. You're approached by Dali. You heard? The lieutenant from Hague Hills fled from her camp. She would be dead without our potions. What happened? A troll. There's a hint of shame in her voice. She says she stopped it, but not before it tore the other soldier to pieces. Better speak with her. I thought that was our blood at first. Like, we just came from the hell zone. Did we sleep? No, it is nighttime. Okay, I enter the building. The innkeeper greets you with a nod, and his eyes lead you to the bench in the corner. Tulia is sitting with her head resting against the wall, breathing heavily with clean bandages on her neck, arm, and leg. Next to her are 3 small bottles, all of them open, but your nose catches no scent of ale. Her gambit is on the floor, now more of a rag than armor. As you sit down next to her on a stool, she opens one eye, then another. She lets out a sigh. Tell me about the attack. There isn't much to say. It came in the early hours. We threw and shot anything we could at it. After it broke through the gate, I had one last arrow left. My subordinate, her voice is bitter, gave me time to aim, and now he's gone. Summer's almost over. We should soon travel back to the city. Did you manage to burn the other soldier? Do you still have my reward, or is it back at camp? Guess what? I met with... Guess what? I found chaos. That could be good news for her. Did you manage to burn the other soldier? The sore in her eyes makes her shake her head in redundance. Okay. I don't care about the reward right now. We don't want to ask about that right now. She doesn't trust me enough to tell her about the squad's missing. Get what? I met Chaos. You mentioned the tavern in Foggy's care. Tulia sighs with relief and rests her hands on her sides. Alive. That's good to hear. Deserter or not, how's he doing? He's insane. I think this is a good one. They're putting him to good use and his soul is healing slowly. Making her, you describe what you've seen, making her reach behind her head and take a deep breath. Guess I ought to be a bit less angry thinking about my squad, though that's quite a task. She chuckles. I'm so glad he found kindness in this land. I wish he didn't have to look for it, though. Summer's almost over. She shrugs. Well, if the city rat is going to criticize me for getting out of here before the end of my watch, they can jump into the sea for all I care. Oh, we can finish right now. Really? That's interesting. How that, like, how does that change the ending? Well, I guess you're not really going to get a good ending, but you can. Well, that's fascinating. I like that. Okay, anyway, do you still have my reward, or is it back at camp? I feel like this is a dick move to say right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm taking a look at the main hall. The windows are locked, and both the counter and the tables are lit with candles. The innkeeper holds a broom in one hand and dusting cloth another. Phyros is nearby, talking quietly with the innkeeper. Tulia sitting in the corner, flinching at every loud noise. Let's see. Nothing for him. I go outside. Go to the well. Alright. Enter the inn. I joined Tulia. Just wanted to see if that refreshed anything. I want to ask this, but it's such a dick move. I'm going to quick save. I need to know if this activates like a quest. Snickering Weekly. I knew you would ask me for that. Yeah, it's all there. I took everything of value with me. I'll get a quick load. I know that's kind of cheating there, but I just wanted to see if it was going to like a quest activation. Normally, I would not say that. I don't want... Like, that's such a dick move. Alright. Innkeeper. So you again, need anything? Do I have anything you'd like to buy? He moves behind the counter. Let's see what you got. Iron scraps. I could free of these iron...
6 coins!
That seems pretty damn good. I could free you from this iron and steel, but we don't have a furnace. Is there a better place to sell these because they don't have a furnace to work with them? But I remember them saying, like, Howler's Dell will buy them, and then another place will buy them for even more. And I thought it was this place, the Pelt of the North. You know what? We're gonna take it. Deal. Alright. What do you have? We actually have freaking money. 3 meals for $1. I don't think we need that. We could buy the high-class fur. But why? I'm assuming we can buy it here and sell it somewhere else for profit. A high-class fur, a valuable commodity. Or is this for like the to craft like the good armor in Howler's Dell? I don't want to spend that much money though on just a what if. About Glaucia's band. Oh, we gotta get him. Okay. Didn't even know we had to do that. I'd like to ask about somebody. Oh, who were their names? I know we've already talked about the hunters. It was like Elos or the people from the north, the creeks. Humans. Ephron and Ela. Let's ask about Ephron and Ela. Ephron. You don't know them. Okay, how about... Is that how to spell his name? Elon? Oh, Ela. Ephron and Ela. He ain't like his brother Ephron. He doesn't fight. And was here only once, simply to introduce himself. Ela may be only 20-something, but he carries a soul twice his age, and that's a good thing. You know, in creeks there are either elders or kids. They lack those who would put together plans for years to come. That's a big burden to carry in a village where every adult has a right to vote, but most of them don't care about anything that won't land in their bowls or beds. I must have spelled the name wrong. Did I spell it wrong twice? It's got an E! When the people of the creek send a trading band to us, it's with Ephron at the front. He's not so much of a fighter as he is a pathfinder, but he's killed enough beasts that I invited him to be our ranger. Too bad he loves his home too much, he says with the tone of someone who describes a completely alien experience. Unlike his brother Ela, he's a man of action, not of layered schemes. Layered schemes, interesting. Alright. I think that's all we can do here. Let's sleep, and we definitely want to rent a room. The dark skies don't let it go. It's yet another night of rainfall. Alright. I want to talk to the guards, and then we're probably going to have to call the episode here. I approach the guards. The boar is resting on the ground, demanding Dallet's patting. The huntress gives you a sad glance. The trolls are back, she states simply, and you run your eyes over her companions. They're unusually quiet. I'm looking for a few hunters from creeks. Vaskal, Dahlia, Admon. Were they here? I don't know those names. She looks at her companions, and while there's someone who claims to have met them, he has nothing to say about them. She then glanced at the boar, which is now very interested in the smell of your boots, and giggles. It's a long way from here to creeks. I mostly spoke with Ephron. Have you met him? Sure, he's a nice guy. She starts to laugh. Well, maybe I wouldn't say nice, but there's charm to his vigor. About the hunters you wanted me to recruit. I could still learn more. We could talk about Cassia. It sounds like no matter her talents or lack thereof, she's got a harpy of an attitude. She summarizes your tale and tries to push aside the hair of her forehead. Maybe a bit better to spare ourselves the trouble after all. I'll let you know if I learn anything. Do you know there are undead that use light? The heck does that mean? Kind of. She gives you an unconvinced smile. I know they grow more human-like the older they get. I think they don't need light, they just want it. Like when they put on clothes or take trinkets from those they kill. Okay. I'm too tired to throw axes. We're not going to gamble unless we're throwing axes. Oh, we can't even rest? Oh, probably because we're talking. About the goblins. Shoot, the price is 10. I have your dragons and there's no soul in the entire ruins. Let's get to it. We'll return to that later. I'm looking for knowledge about the wild creatures. 5 dragons, but I won't go any lower. You know what? I think this might be worth it. 5 dragons, fine. We got an achievement, the bestiary. Holy crap. Should I be afraid of local apes? Oh, could I tell you the stories of such... Okay, you know, we don't have time to go through all of this. I'm gonna quick save here. And we'll pick up on the next time. Until then, hope you're enjoying the Roadwarden. Enjoy whatever you enjoy doing as well. And I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ta for now.